It had been 4 quiet months since Aiden left for college. I still remembered the morning he rolled his suitcase to the door, a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation written across his face. Since then, the house had felt unnaturally still. I missed the way his laughter filled the hallway, how he always played music just a little too loud, or how the kitchen became a disaster zone whenever he decided to cook. Once he was gone, that noisy warmth vanished. Silence crept in, and eventually I made peace with it. That is, until he came back. It was a late Friday afternoon. I had just finished folding laundry when I heard the front door click open. I wasn't expecting company. I peeked out of the laundry room, and there he stood. Aiden. He leaned against the doorway, a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. His smile wide and eyes bright. Something about him had changed. Maybe he'd grown taller, or maybe it was the calm confidence in how he carried himself. His jaw looked sharper, his voice deeper when he spoke. There was a maturity in him I hadn't noticed before. "Guess who's home?" he grinned, dropping the bag at his feet and holding his arms open. I laughed, hurrying into his hug. "You didn't even call. I would have picked you up. I wanted it to be a surprise. Honestly, I just needed to get away for a bit." We ended up sitting in the kitchen, and I made his favorite, grilled cheese, crisp and golden. He talked non-stop about his lectures, odd roommates, and how campus life felt both freeing and exhausting. Somehow, without effort, we slid back into the same rhythm we used to have, comfortable, playful, familiar. But beneath all that warmth, something had shifted. I felt it in the way his gaze lingered on me longer than usual, or how his attention seemed sharper, more intense, as if he were looking at me differently. That night, we curled up on the couch to watch an old movie, something we'd done countless times before. But this time he sat closer than I expected. I didn't move away. I told myself it was innocent, just the joy of being home. But when our fingers brushed and neither of us pulled away, I felt the energy in the room change. The silence grew thick, buzzing with words neither of us dared to speak. "I missed this," he said quietly, his eyes searching mine. "So did I admitted, almost in a whisper. The credits rolled, but we didn't move. It felt like time itself had stilled. "Can I stay up a bit longer?" he asked. "Sure," I replied, trying to sound casual even though my heart was pounding. We talked late into the night, about everything and nothing. But underneath our words was an unmistakable tension. Aiden kept looking at me, not with the eyes of the boy I'd known, but with something deeper, more aware, more deliberate. I tried to brush it off. Maybe he was just being affectionate. But then, he reached up and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear, and I froze. When I looked at him again, I didn't see a college kid. I saw a man, one who had been holding something in for too long. "Is it strange that I missed you this much?" he asked, his voice low. His question startled me. I laughed softly, attempting to diffuse the moment. "Of course not. We've always been close." He shook his head. "No, I mean, missed you. The way you make things feel okay. The way you talk to me. I didn't even know how much I needed that until I was away." His words hung in the air, thick and heavy. "You've always been where I felt safest," he added, barely above a whisper. I didn't know what to say. There was confusion, guilt, and something else I wasn't prepared to face. "I should probably get some sleep," I said quickly, standing up. But he stayed where he was. "I didn't mean to make things weird. Please don't be upset." "I'm not upset," I said quietly. "I just wasn't expecting this." "Neither was I," he admitted. "But now that I'm here, I can't pretend I don't feel it." There was a vulnerability in his expression that caught me off guard. And yet I didn't walk away. The truth was, something inside me had shifted too. I tried to ignore it, to pretend nothing had changed. But now we'd crossed a line that couldn't be erased. The next morning we didn't bring it up. Breakfast was filled with light conversation. Pancakes, weather updates, weekend news. But his eyes spoke a different truth. He hadn't let go of what happened. Neither had I. That afternoon, I found him in the living room, flipping through an old photo album. "You were always there," he said, not looking up. "In every memory. You're in it." I sat beside him quietly. "You've grown up so fast." "I had to," he replied. "But I think part of me never really left this place. Or you." His eyes met mine, and that same look returned, that honest, open expression that made something in me stir. "I'm not trying to make things uncomfortable," he said gently. "I just needed to tell you how I feel." I reached over and placed my hand over his. "There's nothing wrong with feelings. But we have to be careful. Sometimes they can get tangled, especially when emotions run high." "I understand," he said. "But this doesn't feel like confusion to me." The rest of the weekend passed with both of us walking carefully around each other, pretending everything was normal when it wasn't. Every glance felt loaded, every conversation layered. By Sunday evening, he was packing his bag again. The air was heavy. "I hate that I have to go," he said softly. "Sometimes distance helps. It gives us space to understand things better." He nodded slowly. "I just don't want to lose this feeling." "You won't," I assured him. "But give it time. Let's both give it time." Before he left, he pulled me into a long, tight embrace, longer than any hug we'd shared before. "You'll always be the one who knows me best," he murmured. "And you'll always have a place in my heart," I whispered back. As the door clicked shut behind him, the house returned to stillness. But this time the silence wasn't empty. It was alive, filled with the weight of all the things we didn't say and maybe never could. And yet, in that silence, I found something unexpected. Not guilt, not regret, but a quiet truth. Sometimes life brings us moments that shake our understanding of love, boundaries, and connection. That weekend didn't redefine who we were, but it reminded me how human we are, full of complexity, emotions, and longing that doesn't always make sense.